Hello everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Nim Kolkar and you're watching Sunday Chats with Nim, which is my Facebook talk show which I bring you every Sunday at 4 p.m. Sydney time. And every week I bring you a topic to help you get ahead both personally as well as professionally. I'm super excited about today's topic and I know many of you have been looking forward to it as well. It is about how to let go of your past. And I think that is a topic that more and more people need to be aware of because so many of us are sort of trapped in the memories of what may have happened a long time ago, decisions that went wrong, choices that did not go the way we wanted them to, and we remain haunted to the day. So that's why I'm bringing you this topic this afternoon. Continue saying your highs as you log in because, as I always say, it makes me feel a lot closer and more connected to you all. Also, let me know where you're logging in from. So whether you're saying hi from Sydney, hi from Mumbai, or wherever else in the world you're listening in from. It's always nice to know where everybody is. As most of you know, I'm here in Sydney and it's a little after 4 o'clock. We have about 20 to 30 minutes together. If you have any questions, insights, experiences that you would like to share during the live talk, please do so. If there are any questions and if they are asked within the time framework of this afternoon's show, I will do my best to answer it while I'm here live on the talk show. So let me say my hellos really quickly. Hi, Monica. Hi, Yash. Hi, Hemlata. Thank you so much for joining in. And I know there's lots more who are listening in. Please do say hello to me so I can say hi back to you. Now, while I'm waiting for a few more people to join in, because I don't really want anyone to miss out on today's topic and the tips and strategies that I'll be sharing, I'm going to begin by reading a few quotes to you about the art of letting go of the past. So it's just a bit of a teaser about today's topic. And while we're waiting for everyone else to come on board, let me share with you three really, really beautiful quotes that I read about the art of letting go. I'm not sure who the first two are attributed to, but I thought they're so beautiful that I want to share it with you. The first one, and I'm going to read it out to you. If you don't leave your past in the past, it will destroy your future. Live for what today has to offer, not for what yesterday has taken away. And I thought that was an incredibly deep and profound quote because it's very possible that for many of us, our past has taken away many things from us. It may have taken away our confidence. It may have taken away our peace of mind. It may have taken away our faith in our own ability to make rational decisions. No matter what our past has taken away from us, if we continue to define our life by what it took away from us, then it will stop us from defining our life by the gifts that the present and the future is waiting to bestow upon us. I thought that was an incredible quote about learning to let go. Another quote I read was, to heal a wound, you need to stop touching it. That's a beautiful quote as well. We all know that when we have a wound, when we've injured ourselves, right, our main goal is to recover. Our main goal is for that wound to heal. But what do? We spend all our time touching it to find out if it has healed or not. And by doing that, we are actually delaying the process of healing. In the same way, if we continue revisiting the ghosts of our past, if we continue rehashing what may have happened a long time ago, whether it's experiences we've had, whether it's decisions that we made that didn't work out, whatever the case may be, if we keep overanalyzing things that happened in our past, we're not going to be able to heal, we're not going to be able to move forward, and we're not going to be able to live in the present moment. Hi Adil. Hi Sylvia ma'am. How lovely to hear from all of you. Thank you so much for joining in. For those who've just come on board, we're talking about how to let go of your past. And if you have any thoughts, any questions, any insights you'd like to share in today's session, please do so. Like I always say, it's pretty boring to be talking by oneself. So I love everything being interactive. So whenever I ask a question, as much as possible, please step outside your comfort zone and give me some answers so that it can feel a lot more interactive. Yes, Sylvia ma'am, I know all about it. Every time we have a wound, we all want to know whether it's healed, and we keep touching it. And you know what? By constantly touching it, we delay the process of it healing. So it's the same with memories from the past that we are trying to let go of. It's best sometimes to let sleeping dogs lie. And the last quote I want to share with you, and I believe it was written by Daphne Rose Kingma, and it goes like this. It says, holding on is believing that there's only a past. Letting go is knowing that there's a future. I thought that was beautiful too. When we continue living in our past, we're only living a one-dimensional life. It's almost as if we are believing that the past is the only thing that defines us. But when we learn to let go, we open up not just the present, but we also open up the magic of the future. So friends, that's really how I want to get started with today's topic, by sharing these 3 quotes with you about the art of letting go. And because I see that lots and lots of people are still joining in, I am going to share with you a beautiful story about 2 monks that I happened to read a few weeks ago, which again sums up beautifully how we can let go of our past. Hi Jagmeet. Hi Rasika. And how do I say this? Hi, Vibe Magoo. Did I say that right? If not, please let me know. There's nothing worse than calling someone, pronouncing their name wrong. So please let me know if I've said it right. So let me tell you this beautiful story about 2 monks. 2 monks had set out on a journey on foot. As they were walking, they come to a river. And standing on the edge of the river is a young woman. The young woman looks at both the monks. There's a junior monk and a senior monk. And she says, can you please help me cross this river? Both the monks are in a bit of a quandary and a dilemma because they have taken a vow never to touch a woman. So what happens? The senior monk sort of thinks about it for a few seconds, then picks up the lady, carries her across the river and sets her down. The younger monk is shocked by this entire interaction. And once he's crossed the river as well, he and the senior monk continue on their journey by foot, and it's obvious that the younger monk is very disturbed by what had happened, and he mulls over it for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. And after about half the day has gone by, he finally cannot bear it any longer, and he asks the senior monk, I cannot believe what you just did. You have taken a vow never to touch a woman, and yet you picked up this lady and took her across the river. The senior monk simply looks at him for a moment and says, I set her down a long time ago. Why are you still carrying her? I hope you've grasped the magnitude of that message about how important it is to travel light, about how important it is to not carry unnecessary baggage, emotional baggage, as we move through the different phases of our lives. We need to shed the negative emotional baggage that we all carry from things that have happened in our past. Sylvia ma'am says, but Nim, a few past events are simply unforgettable. Absolutely, I agree. The whole point is living in the past is that helping you move forward. So that actually brings me to a very, very important juncture in today's message, and that is that past experiences don't always have to be negative. Living in the past does not always have to be a negative experience. Sometimes there might have been things that happened in our past that are fantastic. We may have had a glorious past and we continue resting on those laurels. Okay, for example, you all may have come across, retired individuals who may have achieved wonderful things in their careers when they were younger. And now that they're in retirement, they're unable to let go of their past. And whenever people catch up with them, that's all they talk about, the things that they did once upon a time, the medals they won, the awards they won, the recognition they got. Now, while this is okay every now and then, if it becomes the sole focus of every conversation, then this kind of living in the past actually prevents us from being fully present in the present. And then the flip side, of course, are experiences that were not pleasant. Okay, we all sort of live with our what ifs. What if I had made this decision back then? What if I had not done this? What if I had not said that? What if I had nurtured this particular relationship a lot more? So we all live with the negative ghosts of our past as well. And when we do that, again, it also stops us from moving ahead. So let me ask you a question, and I'm going to wait for a few seconds to give people a chance to answer. It's a very, very simple question, but it's amazing how many people don't take any time out of their busy schedules to think about the answer. The question I want to ask you all is, why is it important to let go of your past? I'm going to wait and see what people have to say before I give you my answer. So the question is, why, first of all, is it important for us to let go of the ghosts of our past? I'll just wait for a few seconds. Would anyone like to have a shot at the answer? Why is it important to let go of the past that is holding us hostage in so many ways? Does anyone know the answer to that? Why should we make it a point to not remain trapped in what may have happened a long time ago or many years ago? Well, first of all, the past is done and dusted. It's gone. It's no longer in our control. Let's see what Jagmeet says, so that you don't live in guilt for any mistakes. Absolutely right. And Dolly says, for a better future. Fantastic. Very, very true. Also, like I said just a moment ago, the past is done and dusted. It is gone. It is over. It is definitely not within our control. It doesn't even make any sense to constantly take up permanent residence in our past, because what do we have to gain? Other than the lesson that we have to learn, which we all can, and move on, there's nothing else to be gained. It is not a phase in your life over which you have any control anymore. Okay, Rasika says, or else we will relive those moments again and again. Absolutely, and that is a surefire pathway to increasing misery all the time. Yash says, so that we can enjoy the present and plan about the future. Fantastic. The only way to enjoy what's happening now, what the gifts that the present life is giving you, is to let go of the past, and also it makes you more empowered to plan your future. Swapna says the past is gone, you cannot change it, and we have to live in the moment. Absolutely right. And Suman says to move ahead in life. Fantastic. So we all know all the fantastic reasons and benefits of letting go of our past. And also, when we give up on whatever has happened in the past, it also sort of gives us a newfound freedom to start creating new memories. Otherwise, the danger is that we will go from birth to death with only a small set of troubling memories that will continue to haunt us through our entire journey here on earth. And the only way you and I can create new memories, more positive memories, memories that will tide us through the difficult times, is by letting go of the hurtful memories of things that have happened in the past. So these are, like you all just shared with us, some of the reasons why it is so very, very important for us to set ourselves free of the mistakes that may have happened a long time ago, set ourselves free of the less than desirable experiences we may have gone through, either in our childhood, either in our early adulthood, or even recently. It's so very important. Now, the funny thing is that even though we all know why it's important to let go of the past, yet so many of us still remain trapped. So this is my next question to you all. Despite knowing that it is important to live in the present, despite knowing that it's important to let go of the past, why is it so very difficult, if not impossible, for a large majority of us to set ourselves free? Hi, Vandana. Thank you for joining in. Let me see what Dolly has to say. The wounds heal with time. If we keep on remembering it, it's going to make it even worse, and it's going to make us sad. Absolutely right. Absolutely right, Dolly. So coming back to my question, despite knowing all the benefits of letting go of our past, why are so many of us still trapped? Would anyone like to have a go? Why is letting go so difficult? For those of you who've just joined us, we are talking about how to let go of our past. And the question that I've just posed to everybody is, despite knowing how important it is to live in the present, why are so many of us still trapped in the things that happened long ago? Would anyone like to have a go at that? Well, firstly, let me tell you why I think it is so difficult. Have you all heard of the art of manifestation and the self-fulfilling prophecy? I believe many of us would already know that. For those who don't, the art of manifestation really is to make something happen merely through the power of thinking about something repeatedly. And Swapna says it's because of emotions. Yes, absolutely right. Coming back to the art of manifestation, whenever we think about something repeatedly, we get more and more of it. We invite more of the same into our lives. If we think only happy thoughts, we set that message out into the universe and more happy things happen to us. If we focus on only worrying, we actually end up with a lot more things to worry about. You may have noticed that you may have decided sometime in the past, you know what, I'm not going to think about this particular thing. I'm not going to worry anymore. But this is only a superficial decision. Deep down, you're still worried about that. And the more you think about it, the more things, negative things are set into motion. And sometimes we end up having an entire day where everything went wrong. How many of us have felt that we're on a roller coaster ride and that ever since we woke up in the morning, when we knocked, our knee into the bedside and we yelped in pain, after that, everything was downhill. Everything that could go wrong went wrong. And that's because so many of us only focus on the negative. And because of that, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because of that, more and more negative things get manifested. Now, not everyone believes in this, but certainly the way I've lived my life, I've always believed that if I focus on something, I get more of it. And that's why so many people are finding it difficult to let go of the ghosts of their past, because they keep revisiting it. They've all taken up a permanent entry visa into their past, and that's where they live. That's where they rehash all their old mistakes. That's where they think about decisions that went wrong. That's where they think about traumatic experiences. And because of it, like a wound that we keep touching again and again and again to see if it's healed, we're actually stopping it from healing in time. Okay, Dolly says, if we lose our closed one, then it is sometimes very hard. We cannot get over it, but life has to go on. Dolly, I completely understand the pain of losing a closed one, and it's something that we've all gone through. It is something no one can escape. And like you rightly said, and it may sound cliched, but life does go on. Right? Hi, Jyoti. Thanks for joining in. For those of you who've just come on board, we're talking about how to let go of one's past. And I've just answered the question of, despite knowing all the benefits of living in the present, why are so many of us continuing to be haunted by the ghosts of our past mistakes? So that brings me, because it's a little past 4:20 and we've got another maybe 10 minutes, let me get started with some of the strategies that will help you get over whatever has been holding you captive that has happened in your past. Now, some of you who are listening may already have subconsciously decided that no matter what strategies I share with you today, nothing's going to work for you, because you may have worked yourself into an emotional state where you've given up on liberating yourself from the past. But I request you all to listen with an open mind, and wherever possible, not all the strategies I share today will be applicable to you or your life experiences, but wherever possible, have an open mind and go in with the absolute belief that it is possible to liberate yourself from whatever has been holding you captive that happened a long time ago. Whether it was an experience that was traumatic, whether it was losing a loved one, whether it was making a decision that didn't quite work out, or whether it was a relationship that you perhaps didn't handle as you would have liked to have handled it now with the wisdom of hindsight. Okay? So the first strategy that I always encourage everyone to remember is the natural order of things, right? The universe, nature has a certain law. It operates through a certain law. As we all know, the seasons go through a cycle. There is summer and spring where everything blossoms, where everything is in bloom, where the flowers are out there, colorful and bright, and everything looks upbeat. And then there's autumn and winter, where the trees shed their leaves and everything dries up, and it's a time of hibernation. Now that is the natural. Now the old leaves have to shed for the new leaves to bloom. In the same way, old memories need to be shed. The old pain needs to be shed so that new memories can be created. If we only latch on to and if we only cling to what may have happened a long time ago, we are going against the order of nature. So give yourself permission to acknowledge that it is okay to let go of a past pain, because that's just how nature operates. And you are in tune and aligned with nature when you say goodbye to something that hurt you a long time ago, because that way you're opening up for a magical future. Okay, so that's the first step. The second step is to actually accept and acknowledge the specific emotion you are experiencing. Now what happens is, let's say something happened in your past. Let's say you made some kind of mistake that you've never been able to get over. And the principal emotion that you are struggling with is, let's say, a feeling of shame or a feeling of guilt. Now, what do most of us do without realizing it? We are fighting against that particular emotion. We're trying to convince ourselves and the rest of the world that that is not the emotion we should be experiencing. So we're busy trying to prove to ourselves that no, we are not ashamed, no, we are not guilty about what happened. And by doing that, you're actually delaying the process of healing. So the very first step is to acknowledge that it is okay to feel guilty. It is okay to feel ashamed of anything that you may have experienced in the past. Acknowledge and accept the emotion. Just because you have accepted it or acknowledged it does not make you a culprit. It does not make it true. But the only way you can heal from the ghosts of the past is by, first of all, acknowledging whatever emotion it is that you are experiencing. Okay? So that is the very first step. The second one, once you've acknowledged the emotion, is the real art of letting go. By the way, everyone's gone a bit silent, so I know that's lots of people watching. Please do say your hellos and hi's to me and tell me where you're listening from, because like I said at the start of the session, it's always nice to get a little bit of interaction happening. Okay? So the real art of letting go, and why so many people are not able to do so. Now let's say that you've been struggling with feelings of guilt. Okay, say you've been feeling guilty about a choice you made a long time ago, about a relationship you didn't handle well, about an opportunity you didn't take up, when the time was right. Let's say for the last few months or years, you've been struggling with guilt. Okay, the first step was to acknowledge that, yes, I am guilty about this particular experience I had. Once you've acknowledged it, then comes the most important step, is to let go. Yet, so many people are unable to let go of that negative emotion. We've all heard fantastic advice on the net, and we've all heard it from our gurus about how to let go. And yet, despite the advice being so simple, so many of us are not simply able to let go of the emotions. And today I'm going to tell you the secret why it's so difficult to let go of negative emotions. Let's say you are guilty about a choice you made that backfired. And now you've decided, because you've read lots and lots of motivational stuff, you've decided, you know what, it's time to let go of this guilt. When you let an emotion go, it creates a new empty space that wasn't there before. Because suddenly, that emotion that has been holding you captive for so many years, you've decided to let it go. When you let it go, an emptiness is created, a vacuum is created. Now, when a vacuum is created, something has to fill it up. It has to be replaced with another, more positive emotion. But most people, what happens is as soon as they let go of their negative emotion and they suddenly are faced with this vacuum, that fills them with terror. That fills them with absolute fear. And so what's their reflex action? They reach out and snatch that emotion again that they've just let loose into the universe, and they reinstate that emotion into their soul, and they feel that, oh, all is well again, I feel complete. But this feeling of completeness is only an illusion. Just because a vacuum has now been filled does not mean that you are emotionally complete, because the emotion that you have now reinstated into your soul, into your life, is still the same old negative emotion. Yes, the vacuum has been filled, but it has done nothing for your emotional well-being. You need to replace it with an emotion that serves you in a more positive way. Okay, so whenever you're thinking about letting go of a negative emotion, whether it is guilt, shame, betrayal, anger, disappointment, whatever the case may be, I want you to think of the old system called the barter system. Has any of you, do you remember what the barter system was? Can anyone tell me what the barter system is? B-A-R-T-E-R. What is the barter system? Anyone? The barter system is an ancient method of exchange that has existed for centuries before money was invented. It was an exchange of goods and services. So when you wanted a good, when you wanted certain goods or services, you gave certain goods or services in exchange. That's the barter system. Remember in school, or at least in my school, when I was in school, we used to my friends and I used to all be stamp collectors. We used to collect stamps from all over the world. Has any of you ever collected stamps as a child? Hopefully I'm not the only one. So we used to collect these beautiful stamps from all over the world, and we had these little albums, right, where we used to stick our stamps. And then sometimes we would have duplicate stamps, or we would have stamps from a country that we didn't particularly fancy, and we didn't want that stamp for ourselves. So then we'd have stamps swapping sessions where we would swap stamps so that we got a stamp that we really wanted. Okay, now imagine that if you were to give a friend of yours one of your stamps that you didn't want anymore, and the friend takes the stamp and simply walks away without giving you anything in return. You wouldn't like that, because suddenly this vacuum has been created. You've given away something you had, but you haven't got anything in return. So of course you'd run after your friend and snatch your stamp back again and put it back into place, even though it was a stamp you didn't want, but you didn't like the idea of there being this vacuum in your stamp album. Similarly, when you give up a negative emotion and you don't replace it straight away with something else that is more positive or that serves you better, you are going to be left with a sense of panic. And no one likes to feel this sense of panic. So what do? We fill it up with the negative emotion again. So here's a trick to let go of an old emotion and to replace it with something more positive. Let's say, for instance, that a long time ago you gave up a lucrative job offer, a job offer that could have solved all your financial worries. And ever since that time, you've spent your time looking back and regretting that decision. You've been thinking, what if I had taken up that job offer? Would my life have been transformed? Would all my bills have been paid? Would my family and I have been financially free? So you've been living with this guilt for the last few years. Now it is time to let go of the guilt. But like I said earlier, think of it as a barter system. You're giving up one emotion, but you've got to get something in return. So let's say you've decided to replace guilt with another positive emotion. Let's say you decide to replace it with curiosity. So now every time the old ghosts of your past come and haunt you and you're filled with that sense of guilt about having let go of that opportunity, you decide to switch tacks and now embrace the emotion of curiosity. So let's say you become curious about all the new opportunities that may have opened up around you in your professional world without realizing it. Let's say you become curious about the professional network you've built over the years, and you tap into that network to see if anyone can offer you the opportunity of your dreams. So that's how you replace one negative emotion with a positive emotion. It is a very, very deliberate action. Let's say, I'll give you another example. Let's say something happened in your past that was pretty traumatic. Let's say it is an experience that has filled you with shame and regret over the years. It's time to let go of those negative emotions, but you have to replace it, like the barter system I mentioned earlier, with something else that serves you better. One really, really liberating way of letting go of feelings of shame and guilt about traumatic experiences is to embrace a new emotion called empathy. So what you could do to practice this positive emotion is maybe join an organization as a volunteer where you can help people whose needs are greater than your own. This is crucial, that you are in service for people whose needs are greater than your own. Maybe they are suffering at the moment, whereas your suffering was in the past. So in a way, their need is more urgent than yours. So that's how you replace the old negative emotions of shame and guilt with the new positive emotion of empathy. So remember, every time you give up a negative emotion, you've got to fill up that vacuum that has been created with something more positive. So we've run out of time, but I just wanted to give you one final strategy, and that is to write a gratitude journal. And I've talked about this in the past as well. Very, very important to write a gratitude journal, ideally every night, where you write 3 to 5 things that are currently present in your life for which you are super grateful, because that helps you get out of the bubble of your past, and it gets you recognizing all the things that are now present in your life for which you are thankful. So guys, because we've run out of time, I have thankfully managed to share the top 3 strategies to help you let go of the ghosts of your past. The first is to understand the natural order of things. The second is to acknowledge and accept the specific emotion that you've been struggling with for the last few months or years. And then to remember the barter system, and to remember that every time you're giving up a negative emotion, you've got to replace it with something more positive. And of course, the gratitude journal, where you write every night about things that you are grateful for today, things that you would be unhappy if you didn't have in your life anymore. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you've enjoyed today's session, and thank you for being such a wonderfully interactive audience as always. I love you all. If you have any topics that you would like me to explore, either in my tip of the day videos, which are every Tuesday and Friday, or in my Sunday chats with Nim, which is every Sunday, please email info@nimgolkar.com. Please avoid sending me any messages on Facebook Messenger, because I do tend to sometimes miss out on some of them. I get so many messages every single day. So please email info@nimgolkar.com. And if you are interested in getting any one-on-one coaching with me in order to help you get empowered either in your personal life or in your professional space, please do again email the same email address, info@nimgolkar.com, and I'll send you more information about my success coaching programs. Well, thank you so much for listening. I wish you all that you're able to get over whatever it is that has been haunting you from the past, and to recognize that it is possible to step outside the trap of living in past memories. So good luck, everyone, and I'll see you all again very soon with yet another topic. Have a fantastic week ahead. Bye-bye.